Sometimes we try to be cool, not being givers, only takers. Stop for a minute, stop and breathe for a minute.
Hi, and welcome back to another edition of Gray Hair and Tattoos. My name is Lonnie, and today we are going to tackle the subject of help. My family hates my tattoos. I hear this all the time across all of my social media platforms. So I thought today I would break down, maybe just break down a little bit of that communication, give you my tips, give you maybe some pointers on speaking to your parents, and just kind of, maybe try to help you out a little bit on this subject. So be sure to like and follow, and let's get started. So first, you gotta know, you're not alone. I hear this comment all the time. So if you're out there and your parents don't understand why you're tattooing yourself, just know it's not just your parents. I got my first tattoo at age 30 and my mom cried. And it took her a while to come around, but she finally did come around and she understood my tattoo journey. In fact, she ended up getting her own tattoo for my sister after she passed away. So I thought we would break down the communication. Maybe I can give you some tips and some tricks on how to successfully communicate with your parents, set up some boundaries just in case, somebody is saying something mean, and just basically give you my advice. So we're talking about your parents. Now, anytime that I talk about a family dynamic, anytime I talk about dealing with a family member, the last thing I want to do is to cause any sort of rift or, anything like that. So this is going to be all about positive communication. It's going to be about listening and understanding and just basically trying to bridge that gap of communication. Okay, so you're out there and you're like, oh, I want to get my first tattoo, but I know my parents are going to be upset. Here are my suggestions for how to get past that. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your parents out of their natural environment, meaning you don't want to talk to your parents at their house. You know what? You just automatically go into like this parent-child mode when you're at your parents' house. So if you still live with your parents, invite them out to coffee. If you don't live with your parents, invite them out to coffee. Ideally, what you're looking for is you're looking for a neutral location where you can communicate with your parents in a public environment. People have a tendency to behave a little bit more in public, and you just want to take them out and talk to them. So you're at the coffee shop. Now it's important to remain calm, all right? I know you might have a little bit of emotions built up. Maybe you're expecting a reaction from your parents you might not get. So just stay calm. If you stay calm, chances are they're gonna stay calm. So take a deep breath and just openly communicate with your parents. You want to talk to your parents adult to adult. You don't want to go in as their child. I mean, I know you're still their kid, but you don't want to go in like you're asking them if you can spend the night at your friend's house after school. You want to go in just like, hey, I'm an adult in this calm situation, in this public setting, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be doing. I am going to be getting a tattoo. When you are going to tell them that you're going to be getting a tattoo, make sure you don't tell them like you're asking for their permission. Don't be like, hey, I was going to get a tattoo if it's okay with you. Because what you're doing is you're opening up the door for them to say, no, I do not approve. And instantly you are going to have to fight this battle of trying to get their approval. If you go in and you're just like, hey, you know what? Out of respect for you, I wanted to let you know what I'm doing. You're not being confrontational. You're being very respectful. You're thinking of their feelings before you do it. Hopefully they will be like, oh wow, thank you for letting me know. Go have a good tattoo session, end of story, and you can stop watching the video now. Don't stop watching now, keep watching. you're at the coffee shop, you're calm, you spoke to them like an adult, and you told them what you're going to be doing, and they don't understand. They're like, wow, yeah, no, that ain't going to work for us. We don't think that that's okay. You know it? All right, Mom. All right, Dad. What you got? Why are you opposed to me getting a tattoo? And let them finish. Don't interrupt them. Don't argue with them. Just let them say what they need to say. Now, if they're like, oh, you're never going to get a job with a tattoo, you can be like, you know what, Mom, Dad, I already did my research, and in the field that I'm going, tattoos are very acceptable, so you don't have to worry about that. Try to put their fears and their concerns to rest. So you've heard what your parents have to say, and there's just nothing you can say to change their mind about them not liking your tattoos. But you just have to look at them and be like, you know what, Mom and Dad, I love you dearly and I hear what you're saying. But as I said, I am getting this tattoo, and the only thing I ask from you is just to respect my decision. And hopefully they'll be like, you know what, if I can't stop you, I love you, but I don't agree. Hopefully it just ends there. If they're like, you know what, if you get that tattoo, I will never speak to you again, then at that point you really have to make a tough decision. You have to be like, what is more important, the acceptance of my parents or my self-expression? And I am not here to tell you which one to choose, but just follow your heart. You know what? If you're out there and you're like, I just don't want to disappoint my parents, so I'm not going to get the tattoo, that's perfectly fine. You know what? Talk to them, continue this conversation. And once you get to that comfort level of your parents' approval, then you can get a tattoo. So if you need to wait a little bit longer, don't feel like that's bad. I would never tell you what you should or should not do with your parents. All right, so now that was if you are just thinking about getting a tattoo. Now, if you're out there and you're like, Lonnie, I already have tattoos and my parents already hate them, here's some suggestions for you. Again, take them out to coffee. You know what? I'm all about open communication in a neutral location, but invite your parents out. You know what? Be like, hey, Mom and Dad, you know what? Let's go grab some coffee. Let's get some ice cream. And just look at them and be like, you know what, Mom and Dad? My tattoos aren't going anywhere, but the things that you're saying and the way that you're treating me is really hurting me. And I just ask that you respect me enough to not hurt me. So I would appreciate it when we go forward if you would treat me in a respectful manner. Nothing wrong with that. You didn't tell them they were bad. You didn't tell them what they were doing was wrong. You explained to them how you felt and you asked them to stop. Now, at that point, if they're like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry, I did not know what I was saying was hurting you, you know what? Finish your ice cream, have another cup of coffee, give them a hug, give them a kiss, and then go on. You know what? You stop that communication and everything is great. If they are like, no, we're in the right, you know what, your tattoos are horrible, ask them why. What is it about the tattoos that they hate so much, and try to put their fears to rest. Whatever their fear is, you know what, just try to be like, hey, you know what, Mom and Dad, I understand, but it's not stopping me from getting my job. I understand what you're saying, but my tattoo makes me happy. If you're out there and you're like, I've tried all that, Lonnie, and it does not work, what you have to do, and again, this one's pretty tough, but you have to just say, you know what, your words are hurting me, and until you can stop hurting me, I have to limit my time around you. Just realize toxic people are toxic people, and sometimes, unfortunately, those people are our parents. Just have to be like, I love you and I hear you, cannot allow you to hurt me like this. So we're going to keep our communications at a very safe distance until this can be worked out. It's hard, but you deserve to not be hurt in that manner. Now we're going to talk about extended family. And when I say extended family, I mean like aunts, uncles, cousins, you know, all of the above. I'm going to share with you briefly a message that I got on Instagram who told me about a family gathering that she went to, and there was an older uncle. We'll call him Uncle Chuck. Uncle Chuck is an older family member who proceeded to basically berate her for her tattoos in front of the entire family, paraded her around, showed all the other family members her tattoos, telling them that she used to be pretty and how could she do that to herself, put her parents down for allowing her to do that. And she says, I can't say this didn't get to me emotionally, and while I usually try to brush these situations off, this one really hurt, especially as it was coming from family. So with your aunts, uncles, and cousins, you're gonna go straight to this suggestion, and that is using your voice. I say this all the time, you have a voice, you need to use it. And in this particular instance, you're gonna just be like, hey, you know what, Uncle Chuck, I love you dearly, but what you're saying is really hurting my feelings and I'd like you to stop, period. Thanks, Uncle Chuck. You know what? No, what you're doing is not okay. And I'm gonna ask you very politely to stop. I don't care if the entire family's there, and I don't care who's listening. No one is allowed to ever make you feel like that. What if it was your hair? What if it was your makeup? What if it was your outfit? You know, the simple fact that he just picked out your tattoos to pick on you, you know what? He's just a bully. He was gonna pick somebody at that family gathering and he was gonna make fun of them. So you need to stand up for yourself. And if you feel like you don't have that authority or that voice within your family dynamics, then you need to immediately take your parents aside and be like, hey, you know what? Uncle Chuck is really hurting my feelings. Can you help me? If the unfortunate situation is if your parents are like, well, you know what? That's just Uncle Chuck. He's just funny. Just ignore him. Just leave. You know what? We put ourselves in these situations where we think that we're helpless. We put ourselves in these situations where we think that we cannot remove ourselves. And I gotta tell you, again, no one is ever allowed to make you feel bad about you being you. So just be like, you know what? You don't have to make a big scene when you leave. You don't have to be like, you know what? Screw you, Uncle Chuck, and all your attitude. No, you can just be like, hey, you know what? I'm not really feeling very well, so I'm gonna take off early. Then talk to your parents and be like, you know what? I can't have that happen again. I just might have to pass on the next family gathering. Because the bottom line is you are important and your feelings are important, and nobody's allowed to stomp on them. Nobody's allowed to make you feel bad for being you. Even family, even Uncle Chuck. So in wrapping up, you know what? Don't think that this is just a young person's problem. I get messages from people of all ages and all genders with the same concern. So just remember, keep on talking to your parents. Sooner or later, let's just hope that they accept your tattoos and all of this just becomes a far distant memory. So until next time, remember, like and follow, and I will see you on the next episode.